Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to completely demystify something that honestly can feel a little high stakes, sending large sums of money securely with PNC Bank. If you've ever gotten a bit sweaty right before hitting send on a massive payment, well, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break the whole thing down so you can manage your money with total confidence. Let's get right into it.
So, picture this. You suddenly find yourself needing to move a massive amount of money, fast. Maybe you're finally closing on that dream house, or perhaps you're paying international tuition for a semester abroad. Right? Banking jargon can be incredibly intimidating in these moments. The pressure is on, deadlines are super strict, and you literally cannot afford a delay. That is exactly where wire transfers come in, and it's why understanding them is a totally essential financial life skill.
Now, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. What actually is a wire transfer? Well, it's essentially a method of electronically transferring funds directly between banks or financial institutions. Think of it this way. Unlike a check that could bounce or an ACH transfer that might take days to quietly clear in the background, a wire is direct, bank-to-bank communication. It's basically the gold standard for large, time-sensitive payments where you need absolute certainty.
Okay, here is our game plan for today's Explainer. 1. The wire transfer basics. 2. Step-by-step process. 3. Pitfalls and precautions. 4. Features and real-world uses. And finally, 5. Troubleshooting and support.
Section 1. The Wire Transfer Basics.
All right, before you even think about logging into your account or walking into a branch, you really need to get your preparation checklist sorted. You can't complete a wire without absolute precision here. You'll need the recipient's full legal name and address, plus their bank's name and address. You definitely need their specific account number. And then, depending on where the money is going, you need the routing code. If it's domestic, that's the ABA routing number. For international, you're looking for a SWIFT, BIC, or IBAN code.
Now, you might be wondering, what's the big difference between domestic and international wires? Well, PNC handles both beautifully, but the rules of the game do change. Domestic wires stay right here in the US, using that 9-digit ABA routing number, and the speed is honestly incredible, often arriving in just a few hours or within 24 hours max. International wires, on the other hand, are a bit more of a puzzle. They can reach over 180 countries in more than 20 currencies, but they require that alphanumeric SWIFT or BIC code, and they generally take anywhere from 1 to 5 business days to, clear customs, so to speak.
Section 2. Step-by-step process.
If you're sitting at your desktop computer right now, here is your exact flight path through PNC's online banking portal. First, sign on securely. Up at the top menu, you're going to select Pay and Transfer, and then drill down into Wires and International Transfers. Next up, choose your destination. So either send a domestic wire or make an international transfer. Now, a real quick heads up. If this is your very first time doing this, you'll be prompted to accept a digital self-service agreement. Totally normal. After that, just carefully enter those checklist details we just talked about, hit Submit, and complete a multi-factor identity verification to lock it all in.
But hey, what if you're on the go? You can execute this exact same process right from your smartphone. Just open the PNC mobile app, look down at the bottom navigation menu, and tap Pay and Transfer. Honestly, the steps are functionally identical to the desktop version. You choose domestic or international, input the recipient's info, verify your identity, and hit Submit. It's kind of wild. You can literally fund a house closing while waiting in line for your morning coffee.
Of course, what if you just prefer face-to-face assistance? Or maybe your transfer is just too large for those digital channels? No problem at all. You can easily make an appointment at your local PNC branch. You'll sit down with a specialist, hand over your ID, and manually sign a physical wire transfer request form. The bank employee handles the rest, entering the order into the clearing system for you and handing you a physical receipt. It's basically a white glove service for when you really need that extra peace of mind.
Section 3. Pitfalls and Precautions.
So the absolute crucial point here is avoiding mistakes that can needlessly cost you time and money. I want to burn this exact time into your memory. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is PNC's strict clearing cutoff time. If you want a domestic wire to be processed and guaranteed on that exact same business day, your transaction must be fully authenticated and submitted before this deadline. If you hit send at, say, 3:35 p.m. on a Friday, that money isn't moving anywhere until Monday morning. So always try to initiate early in the day. And here is a massive pitfall when it comes to incoming funds. If someone is wiring money to your PNC account, you absolutely cannot just give them the routing number printed on the bottom left of your paper checks. That check's routing number, it's for ACH transfers only. For an incoming wire, you have to use PNC's dedicated wire routing number, which is 0430000096. Mixing these up is for sure a surefire way to get your funds delayed or even completely returned.
Oh, and here's another roadblock you really need to anticipate: the digital limit. Because of strict fraud controls, self-service online and mobile platforms usually impose a daily wire limit of $25,000. So if you're trying to wire a $50,000 down payment for a house, the app is just going to stop you in your tracks. For high-value scenarios like that, you'll need to go ahead and schedule a branch visit so they can verify your identity in person and completely bypass that digital cap.
Section 4. Features and real-world uses.
Let's talk about the standard fee schedule, because banks do provide a premium service with wires, and yep, they charge for it. If money is wired into your account, PNC charges $15. If you send a domestic wire out, it's generally $30. Sending an international wire from a physical branch, that'll run you $50. But interestingly, if you send an international transfer online in a foreign currency, the flat fee drops all the way down to just $5. So always make sure to factor these costs into your transaction, especially if you're paying a very strict invoice amount.
But you don't necessarily have to pay all those fees. If you're someone who transfers money frequently, you can strategically maximize your PNC benefits. For instance, if you upgrade to the Performance Select Checking tier, PNC actually waives all incoming and outgoing domestic wire fees. And to avoid the $25 monthly fee for that premium account, you just need to maintain a $5,000 combined average balance. Oh, and one more pro tip. Remember that $5 online foreign currency fee we just mentioned? While the flat fee is super low, PNC typically adds a retail markup of around 3% to the exchange rate. So, for large international transfers, you always want to compare the total cost, not just the flat fee.
Section 5. Troubleshooting and support.
So, let's look at what happens if something actually goes wrong. The absolute golden rule of wire transfers is this: banks rely solely on account numbers to route funds, not the name on the account. Seriously, if you type the wrong account number but get the name right, the money is still going to the wrong account, and you are legally liable for that clerical error. Always double-check those digits. But hey, if a wire is just delayed, don't panic. Just call PNC Customer Care and ask them to trace the IMAD or OMAD identification number. Every single wire has this unique tracking code, and it shows exactly where the money is stuck in the banking network.
Now, what's really interesting here is a surprising fact that catches a lot of small business owners completely off guard. While personal accounts grant you immediate access to digital wires the second you accept the terms, business accounts don't. Business accounts actually require a completely separate enrollment process, and that triggers a mandatory 2-business-day underwriting review by PNC before access is granted. So whatever you do, do not wait until you have an urgent vendor invoice due on a Friday to try and set up business wire access for the first time.
Before we wrap this all up, I need to share an incredibly important disclaimer. Financial transactions are complex, and the threat of wire fraud and scams out there is very, very real. Always, and I mean always, verify recipient information directly, ideally by getting on the phone with the actual person you are paying. And, of course, consult with a financial advisor or PNC directly for personalized advice if you are ever unsure about anything. Better safe than sorry, right?
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've covered the prep, the buttons you need to push, the pitfalls to dodge, and exactly how to track your money down if you ever need to. You are now fully equipped to handle this entire process securely and efficiently. So, with the world quite literally at your fingertips, where will your next major wire transfer take you? Thank you so much for joining me today, and happy exploring!